4 questions every investor thinks, but most founders never answer. One of the strategies we recommend is that every company, before they launch a capital raise, lists what are their most frequently asked questions from investors. So you would have experienced that either in previous rounds. If not, here are the first 4 that you should be thinking about. Valuation. How did you come up with it? What are the comparisons? How did you actually come up with the valuation that you are presenting to investors? Because I can assure you, they are thinking it. As soon as they see whatever that number is, that is a question that's going through their minds. So answer that question before they ask it. Second, the business model. What are your top 3 growth drivers for your business? How are you going to make money? Now, the reality is I do see a lot of pitch decks and companies will have 9 different ways in which they're going to be making money. Forget that. The brain cannot handle 9. Start with 3. What are your top 3 growth drivers for your business that will drive revenue and create value? And just to go on top of that, on the second one, how does that connect with your use of funds? Right? So if you're going to be highlighting what your top 3 growth drivers are, how does that correlate with your use of funds in your pitch deck as well? Because it's important for an investor to see that connection. They want to understand how their money is going to be going into your company and how that's going to be creating value. Because then from there, they need to make the decision if they agree with your investment of capital into your business thesis and why now is the time for them to invest. Now, the third thing you want to be thinking about is your exit scenario. How does an investor actually get their money back? I always make the joke, it's actually easier to get out of a marriage than it is to get out of a private company. But for an investor, they want to understand this pathway. We're currently in the process of doing a survey at the moment. What's looking like the most likely, investors are looking like an exit horizon in between a 3 to 7 year period. So if an investor puts money in your company today, how are they going to get that return on capital? Now, the fourth one, as I mentioned beforehand, is that use of funds connection. Now, I mentioned about the top 3 growth drivers. There is another one. If you're a technical business, you're likely not have revenue. The life science companies, you may never have revenue. So then the question is how does that use of funds connect with the technical de-risking of your business? Now, for different technical business, that's different things. It could be prototype related, it could be data related, it could be trial milestones that you go through, it could be clinical trials, etc. There's all different sort of loops that you go through. So what you need to help the investor understand then, if you've got different technical milestones that you need to go through, what is the value uplift that they would experience as you break through those different layers of technical de-risking of your opportunity? So they're the 4 things that you want to be thinking about as a first step in your frequently asked questions, because the truth is an investor is going to be thinking about it anyway. So you want to make it easy for them to have that question answered before you go into the conversation. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, well, it's a bit early for me to be thinking about an exit, what do I need to show an investor? Well, the reality is investors who invest in the venture space, they're trying to understand how when they put their money into your business, how they're going to get a 5x to 10x uplift. Now, if you're a bit more of a mature growth business, then effectively they could be looking at sort of anywhere between 2, 3 to 5x uplift, for their investment. So once again, they need to understand what that potentially looks like. So if you're an early stage business, what does that 5x to 10x uplift look like? And how does that use of capital and how does the de-risking of those milestones help make that happen? Now, the truth is you may be sitting there thinking, well, given my valuation now, that might be a bit unrealistic. Well, then you may have to go look at your valuation again. And that's the reality of capital raising. So trying to make it simple for you, answering these questions up front will save you a whole bunch of time and rejection or even ghosting that you may never get, that you may never experience, right? Capital raising is a frustrating thing at the best of times. Having these aspects answered before you go into a capital raising will save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration. Now, the truth is from their side, they'll either agree with you or they disagree with you, but at least you've stated your case and you put your stake in the sand. So what I'd love to know from you is, which one of these are you struggling to answer right now? Please put the comments below.